The massive training hall of the Galactic University hummed with an electric anticipation. Alien students from across the known star systems gathered, their varied physiologies creating a strange mosaic of biological diversity. Most were slender, fragile-looking creatures with gossamer limbs and translucent skin, adapted to low-gravity environments and carefully controlled ecological chambers. Elena Rodriguez stood at the center of the hall, her solid human frame a stark contrast to the delicate alien students. She wore standard Earth military training gear, a lightweight but reinforced exosuit that looked almost casual on her muscular body. Her dark hair was pulled back in a tight ponytail, her brown eyes scanning the room with a calm, calculated precision that spoke of years of military training. J1 Park, a junior researcher from the Lyran Confederacy, watched her with intense curiosity. His crystalline body shifted colors slightly, a biological response to emotional excitement that his species used instead of facial expressions. He had studied human records extensively, but this was his first time seeing a Deathworlder in person. The university's director, a tall quadrupedal being named Christak, introduced Elena with formal diplomatic language. Professor Rodriguez represents Earth's Advanced Terrestrial Combat Training Division. She will demonstrate basic human physical conditioning techniques. Whispers erupted among the alien students. Basic and conditioning were not words they typically associated with survival. Most of their species considered walking more than a kilometer a significant physical challenge. Elena remained completely still, her breathing steady and controlled. To the aliens, she looked like a coiled spring, potential energy waiting to be released. Years of military training had transformed her body into a perfect machine of human adaptability. J1 noticed something unusual. While other instructors typically seemed nervous or performative, Elena radiated a calm confidence that seemed almost supernatural. Her posture suggested she could transition from complete stillness to explosive movement in a fraction of a second. The training hall's environmental controls adjusted, creating a simulation of Earth's gravity, a punishing 9.8 meters per second squared that would crush most alien species. The room's temperature also shifted, mimicking the variable conditions humans routinely encountered on their home planet. Several alien students visibly trembled. Their bodies were designed for stable, controlled environments. Earth's gravity and temperature variations were legendary in scientific circles, often discussed as theoretical extremes that no rational species would voluntarily endure. Christak approached Elena, his multiple appendages moving with diplomatic precision. "Are you certain these demonstration conditions are safe?" he asked, genuine concern in his translated voice. Elena's response was a simple smile. "This is what we call a warm-up where I come from." The alien students exchanged bewildered glances. A warm-up in their understanding meant gentle stretching or minimal movement. The humans, it seemed, operated on an entirely different understanding of physical preparation. J1's research devices were already active, recording every minute detail. His species valued scientific observation above all else, and this human representative promised to be a fascinating subject of study. The hall's holographic displays began displaying Elena's baseline physiological readings: heart rate, muscle tension, respiratory function, all metrics that would help the alien researchers understand human physical capabilities. What they didn't realize was that Elena was about to redefine their entire understanding of physical training, biological adaptation, and the concept of normal physical exertion. As she took her first step forward, the entire room seemed to hold its collective breath. The human looked like she was simply going to walk, but to the trained alien observers, her movement suggested something far more complex: a predatory grace, a controlled potential for explosive action. This was more than a training demonstration. This was a first contact moment that would challenge everything these alien students thought they knew about biological capability, endurance, and the true meaning of physical conditioning. Elena Rodriguez was about to teach them a lesson they would never forget. The moment Elena began her demonstration, the training hall transformed. What she called relaxation looked like an impossible dance of survival to the alien students. Her movements were fluid, precise, and carried an underlying strength that defied their understanding of physical limitations. She started with what seemed like simple stretches. Her body folded and unfolded with a grace that suggested both incredible flexibility and raw power. J1's recording devices captured every micro-movement, his crystalline body leaning forward in pure scientific fascination. The first exercise looked deceptively simple. Alina dropped to the ground and began push-ups. But these were not ordinary push-ups. With her full combat gear, weighing nearly 30 kilograms, she moved up and down with a rhythm that suggested she was barely experiencing any resistance. Alien students gasped. Their species would struggle to lift such weight, let alone perform repetitive movements while carrying it. Some of the medical staff began checking their monitoring equipment, convinced there must be a malfunction. Jin Kim, the lead xenobiologist, zoomed her sensors closer. Alina's muscle groups moved with a synchronization that looked almost mechanical. Her breathing remained steady, her heart rate barely elevated. What humans considered a warm-up would be a near-death experience for most galactic species. The demonstration continued. Alina transitioned from push-ups to a series of movements that looked like a deadly dance. She navigated a holographic obstacle course that simulated urban combat terrain. Jumping, rolling, climbing. Each movement executed with a precision that made it look effortless. Walls appeared. Alina didn't go around them. She went over them. Her body launched upward with a power that seemed to defy gravitational logic. One moment she was on the ground. The next she was sailing over a 3-meter-high barrier, landing with the grace of a cat and the impact absorption of a professional athlete. The alien student's recording devices struggled to capture her speed. Multiple frames were needed to break down each movement, to understand how a biological entity could move with such controlled violence. J1 noticed something extraordinary. While performing these intense physical actions, Alina maintained a conversational breathing pattern. She wasn't even breathing heavily. To the aliens, this suggested a level of physiological control that bordered on the impossible. A holographic weight station appeared. Alina approached it casually, as if walking to a coffee machine. She began lifting weights that would crush most of the alien students. Each lift was performed with a mechanical precision that suggested she could continue indefinitely. Christak, the university director, leaned closer to the monitoring screens. His multiple sensory organs tried to comprehend what they were witnessing. Humans were known as Deathworlders, but this demonstration was pushing the boundaries of their theoretical understanding. Alina's relaxation routine continued. She moved through complex combat simulation scenarios that combined strength, agility, and tactical decision-making. Each movement was a lesson in controlled potential energy, a demonstration of how humans transformed physical exercise into an art form of survival. The most shocking moment came when she started a series of jumping exercises. Not just jumping, but jumping while carrying her full combat gear, landing in complex combat roles, immediately transitioning to weapon handling simulations. Her body moved like a perfectly programmed machine, each action flowing into the next with zero wasted motion. Alien medical staff began comparing her physiological readings. Her stress indicators remained minimal. Her muscle recovery rate was off their standard charts. What she considered a simple training routine would hospitalize most known galactic species for weeks. Jin Kim whispered to J1, "Do you understand what we're seeing? This isn't just physical training. This is a biological marvel." As the demonstration concluded, the entire hall remained in stunned silence. Alina stood perfectly still, not even showing signs of exertion. To her, this was just another morning workout. To the aliens, it was a revelation that would redefine their understanding of physical capability. The human had just redefined the concept of relaxation for an entire galaxy. The university's Advanced Medical Research Center buzzed with intense activity. Multiple screens displayed Elena Rodriguez's physiological data, creating a complex web of information that challenged everything the alien scientists thought they knew about biological adaptation. Hai-Jin Kim stood at the center of the research team, her hands moving rapidly across holographic interfaces. The data from Alina's demonstration continued to shock her and her colleagues. What they were seeing defied conventional understanding of biological performance. Heart rate analysis showed something unprecedented. During an exercise routine that would demolish most species, Alina's heart maintained an almost meditation-like rhythm. Where other biological entities would show extreme stress responses, her cardiovascular system remained unnervingly calm. Muscle recovery metrics produced even more startling results. Typical galactic species would require weeks to recover from such intense physical exertion. Alina's muscle groups showed complete recovery within minutes. Her cellular regeneration rate was off the standard measurement charts. J1 ran additional scans, his crystalline body shifting colors with scientific excitement. Pain response indicators were particularly fascinating. What would cause complete system shutdown for most species barely registered as a minor stimulus for humans. The research team discovered something even more remarkable. Alina's nervous system processed stress differently. Where other biological entities would experience total system collapse, her neural pathways seemed to treat extreme physical stress as a normal operational state. Blood chemistry analysis revealed extraordinary adaptability. Her body produced complex chemical compounds during stress that actively supported physical performance instead of hindering it. Stress hormones that would paralyze other species actually enhanced her capabilities. This isn't just physical training, Hai-Jin muttered to her colleagues. This is a living survival mechanism. Genetic markers showed generations of evolutionary adaptation. Humans had developed biological systems that transformed environmental challenges into opportunities for growth. Where other species avoided danger, human biology seemed designed to engage with it directly. The most shocking discovery came from bone density and muscle fiber analysis. Alina's skeletal structure and muscle composition suggested she could withstand gravitational and physical stress far beyond theoretical limits. Her body was essentially a living, breathing adaptive system. Stress response tests produced results that seemed impossible. Activities that would cause immediate organ failure in other species were processed by Alina's body as routine operational conditions. Her physiological systems didn't just survive extreme conditions, they thrived in them. Respiratory analysis showed another layer of human adaptability. Her lungs processed oxygen with such efficiency that her body could maintain high performance levels with minimal energy expenditure. What other species would consider an extreme oxygen demand was, for her, a normal breathing state. J1's research team began comparing Alina's data with historical human medical records. They discovered this wasn't an individual anomaly. Human biological systems consistently showed this remarkable adaptability across various environmental conditions. The implications were profound. Humans weren't just another species in the galactic ecosystem. They were a biological marvel that had evolved to transform challenges into opportunities for survival and growth. We're not just looking at a training demonstration, Hai-Jin explained to the research team. We're witnessing a species that has turned biological adaptation into an art form. Temperature regulation tests showed another layer of complexity. Alina's body could maintain optimal performance across extreme temperature variations that would destroy most known biological systems. Her internal regulatory mechanisms worked like a perfect, self-adjusting machine. The research team realized they were documenting something more than medical data. They were mapping the physiological blueprint of a species that had evolved to not just survive, but to actively transform hostile environments into opportunities for growth. As the analysis continued, one thing became crystal clear. Humans were not just another species in the galactic catalog. They were a living testament to biological resilience, a species that had turned survival into an evolutionary masterpiece. The demonstration had ended, but the scientific revolution it sparked was just beginning. Sung-Ho Lee, the military academy director, stood with a mix of curiosity and challenge in his posture. His multi-jointed alien body seemed to vibrate with competitive energy. "We want to see a true human training routine," he announced, his translator rendering the words with a crisp, almost provocative tone. Elena Rodriguez didn't hesitate. Her eyes narrowed slightly, recognizing a challenge when she heard one. The training arena transformed around her, holographic projections creating a complex landscape that mimicked multiple environmental conditions. Urban terrain, mountain regions, simulated combat zones, all blended into a single brutal training environment. The alien students watched with a mixture of terror and fascination. What humans considered a training routine had already redefined their understanding of physical capability. Now they would see a full combat preparation sequence. Elena's first movement caught everyone by surprise. She wasn't just moving through the environment. She was becoming part of it. Her body flowed like liquid between obstacles, each step calculated, each movement a perfect blend of efficiency and raw power. The terrain changed rapidly. Holographic barriers appeared and disappeared. Simulated weapon targets popped up randomly. Temperature fluctuated wildly, from Arctic-like conditions to desert heat, testing not just physical capabilities but total body adaptation. J1's recording devices worked overtime. His crystalline body leaned forward, sensors capturing every micro-movement. What looked like a simple navigation exercise to humans was a complex ballet of survival to the alien observers. Elena carried a full combat pack weighing nearly 40 kilograms. For most species, this would be an impossible burden. For her, it was little more than an additional layer of resistance training. She climbed vertical surfaces, jumped between platforms, and maintained perfect weapon accuracy. The most shocking element was her breathing. Despite navigating an environment designed to test absolute physical limits, her respiratory rate remained steady. She could discuss complex tactical scenarios while performing movements that would destroy most biological systems. Weapon handling became another demonstration of human capability. Elena transitioned between different combat scenarios with mechanical precision. Close quarters combat, long-range precision shooting, tactical movement, each performed with a fluidity that suggested these were not separate skills, but integrated survival mechanisms. The holographic environment became increasingly hostile. Simulated explosive zones, rapid terrain changes, multiple threat vectors, each designed to create maximum physiological stress. Elena moved through them like water, adapting faster than the environment could challenge her. Somehow, multiple sensory organs worked overtime. The human wasn't just completing a training routine. She was demonstrating a comprehensive survival system that treated extreme conditions as normal operational parameters. At one point, Elena's route required her to traverse a narrow bridge over a holographic chasm. Most species would approach this carefully. She ran across at full speed, her body calculating distance, balance, and potential threat vectors in milliseconds. The alien student's medical monitoring systems went into overdrive. Her heart rate, muscle tension, oxygen consumption, all remained at levels that suggested she was taking a leisurely walk, not navigating an environment designed to test absolute physical limits. When the simulation ended, Elena stood perfectly still. No heavy breathing, no signs of exertion. To her, this was a standard morning workout. To the aliens, it was a revelation that redefined their understanding of biological capability. J1 approached her, his crystalline body shifting colors with scientific excitement. "How is this possible?" he asked, genuine wonder in his translated voice. Elena's response was simple and matter-of-fact. "This is how humans prepare for a typical day." The training hall remained silent. What they had witnessed was more than a physical demonstration. It was a comprehensive lesson in human adaptability, a living proof that survival wasn't just about physical strength, but about the ability to transform challenges into opportunities. The challenge was complete, but the understanding was just beginning. The aftermath of Elena's demonstration rippled through the galactic university like a shockwave. What began as a simple training presentation had transformed into a profound moment of interspecies understanding. Jae-won Park found himself at the center of a scientific revolution. His research team began reconstructing human training methodologies, carefully adapting them for different alien physiologies. The goal was no longer just observation, but collaboration. Alien military academies across multiple star systems requested detailed reports. Alina's demonstration had exposed a critical gap in their understanding of combat readiness. Humans weren't just another species, they were a benchmark of biological adaptation. Christak, the university director, organized a special symposium. Representatives from dozens of planetary systems gathered to understand the human approach to physical training and survival. Alina became more than an instructor. She was now a living scientific case study. The most significant change happened in training methodologies. Alien military programs began incorporating modified human techniques. They couldn't replicate the exact human approach, but they could learn from its fundamental principles: adaptability, resilience, and continuous improvement. Hae-jin Kim's research team developed specialized training modules. They created simulation environments that could help alien species develop even a fraction of the human adaptive capacity. What seemed impossible before now became a structured learning opportunity. Alina herself became an unexpected diplomat. Her ability to demonstrate complex physical capabilities went beyond mere training. She showed that survival was not about individual strength, but about systematic adaptation and mental resilience. Interspecies military collaboration took on a new dimension. Humans were no longer seen as just another fighting force, but as a complex biological system that could teach survival itself. Their training methodologies became a subject of serious scientific and military study. The galactic scientific community began reassessing human potential. Where they once saw humans as a potent